Scrapbooking Photographer. Welcome to my channel. Today is Tuesday Inspiration, and if you watched previous Tuesday Inspirations, you'll know that this is made up of 4 creators. There's myself, Mel from Mel W Scrapping, who is 10 people away from having 1,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed to Mel's channel yet, please go over and check it out. And there's also Jen from Kay's Mum and Hollie from Ivy Cole Creations. So there'll be links below to all of them and to the playlist for Tuesday Inspiration. This week was Mel's turn to provide the inspiration, and this is the photo that we got. I wasn't sure whether to go with the flowers or the tonings, but in the end it was the lips that got me. Have a look at what I ended up choosing as my photos. That's what it put me in mind of. These photos from visiting the Hamilton Zoo in 2023, and this giraffe was up really close and personal. So that's what I'm going to be scrapbooking today, and the sketch I'm going to use is from a new hop that's just running for this month through Ginger's Corner, and it's a Speedy scrapbooking hop. So there's a variety of sketches there that we can choose from during the month, and this is the first one that I'm doing, but there will be others because the sketches are exactly what the hop says. They are speedy and it shouldn't take too long to put together. So given that these are on a white background, I think the photos would be lost a little bit on the white willow. So what we're going to do is have the espresso at the back, then some pecan pie, and I'm going to get a frame around that just like the sketch says, and then we're going to put these on here, and I think the colours go quite well and they sort of stand out a little bit more. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is trim 1/2 inch off 2 sides here, so that gives us a bit of a frame around the outside. Now the thing about this sketch is that it did say 3 4x4 photos along here, and it had them fitting inside the frame with a gap in between, which obviously isn't going to happen because 3 4s are 12 and that takes the whole width. So I have trimmed these down to 3.5 by 3.5, and I'm hopeful that we'll get, yes we will, a little bit of a gap behind them. So that's all right. Now I've also placed them so that we've got the giraffe looking in towards the photo, rather than if we did it like that. It's not quite as pleasing, I don't think, to the eye. So we'll do that there, and then the 4x4 one I have left up the top is that size, so he'll go there. And the next thing we're going to do is bring in some banners down this side. Now the sketch has 2, and one of that colour and one of a lighter colour. So what I'm going to do is gut the back of this sheet so that we can use the inside of that. So that's now gutted, and from the piece that I took out of the middle, I've cut 2 that are 1.5 inches wide and 5 inches long, so that I can line the ends up with where the bottom of that photo is going to be. In fact, I think I'm going to mount that photo in a piece of this as well, and then bring a lighter colour in on the centre. I've made that 4.5 by 4.5, so that gives us 1/4 inch around the outside. Now for these ones, I'm going to just use my scissors, work out the middle to get that fishtail. So if I use a mat, work out where the middle is, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. So I'm going to go up, and I'm doing them both together so that we get the same sort of distance up the middle, and then separately I will go from one corner into where we cut up to the center, and that gives us a fairly even looking fishtail, and they should be both relatively similar, except the one that's a bit curved. Right, now the big question here is, do we want white or cream on the side? And I think we'll have to try it. So that's the cream. Obviously I'll fishtail it when I know it's right. And that's the white. I think the cream, because the white is whiter than the background, so it kind of barks a little bit. So we'll go with the cream. So I'll cut another one of those, which is 1.5, so the same width as that, and only 3 inches high, so 2 less. So again, we'll find the middle of there and go in. Doesn't matter if it's the same distance or not as the other one. And go in from the side to make that fishtail at the bottom of the banner. You can get dies that cut these banners, but I don't see the point of having a die when you can do it quite easily with a pair of scissors. Okay, so there, there. And the one that's coming in along the bottom is the same vanilla colour as up here, but a little bit narrower to make for journaling. So the piece that we've got left, or the width that we've got left after cutting that off, is going to work. So I'll cut a thinner piece off there. Okay, so that's 1 inch thick, 1 inch wide, and we've done the fishtail on the end, and if it's too long, which it might be, we might come back to halfway along that first photo. We can trim that off where it needs to be shortened on the straight edge side. So that sits there like that. And so need some room in here for the title, so I'm just trying to space things out so that we've got room in here. And if I leave the same gap up the top there that's on the frame, and then use these vanilla pieces to accentuate the frame, I'll come down a little bit. Okay, so I've lined things up so that they are pretty much where I want them to go, and I've moved the square photo at the top up just a little bit so I've got room for the title in here. Now on the sketch it lines up with these ones, but it doesn't kind of work for me, so that leaves me some space in there for the title. What I'm going to do now is stick everything down, and then we'll come back and finish the title. But I'm going to go around the edges of these bits that I've cut. Because it's two-tone, we've got the white core in the middle, and I don't want that showing through, so some of them are a bit tricky to get to. But we'll go as best we can around the edges of these mocha pieces. So how do we do that little piece? We get a bit of sponge and get right into the little nooks and crannies of that corner. Okay, so that's that one. And then this one as well. I don't think I need to worry about the vanilla because it's too similar to the white, but it just kind of jumps out a little bit from this espresso colour. Now, as you'll see, I'm still mixing and matching with Stampin' Up! And Close to My Heart. I just can't afford to go and replace everything from Close to My Heart with the Stampin' Up! Equivalent. So I'm making do with using the different products that I have available in my room. And also go around the outside of here. There'll be lots of different people taking part in Ginger's Speedy Scrapbooking hop, so have a look at what other people do. And there's no order to the sketches. You can do whatever takes your fancy at whatever time of the month. This is actually the last sketch on the list, but I'm doing it first because it just fitted with these photos that I really wanted to do with Mel's inspiration. Okay, I'm going to stick that down and I'll be back in a tick. So Close to My Heart had this alphabet called Molly Moo alphabet, which makes you think of cows, but actually I think it would be quite cool for giraffes, and it would fit in there. So I'm just going to get the word giraffes. I'll get the letters off first and then I will line them up. I'll have to do 2 F's. So I'll do to there first, and then I'll add the F and the E. Sorry about the noise outside, my husband's mowing the lawn. At this time of year, because it's winter time here in New Zealand, we just have to take the opportunity to do the lawn whenever it's fine long enough for us to be able to do it. I think that's relatively straight. I'll bring the sponge in because that always makes it easier to stamp, and we're going directly on the page here, which is always just a little bit terrifying. And I'm using the mocha ink, which is the same one that I went round the outside of the banners with. I'll just ink this up. Now we need to leave room for another FES on the end. So FES. Let's go there. Fingers and toes crossed, everybody. Cool. So I'll just wash those off. Now when I take the letters off here, what I'm going to do is leave the F there so that it's at the same height from the bottom of the block when we come back, so I can line it up hopefully in the same place as I had it last time. Right, here we go again. Fingers and toes crossed that we can get it all lined up. That will be fine. Now on the sketch there are some stars, so I've used an old star punch of mine and I've cut out some biggish brown ones to match this colour, and also a smaller one that I can just pop off to the side so that they kind of flow across and contrast with the colours. And the thing with the two-tone paper is that you need to get the colour that you want showing on the side. So I want them all to be the same, and that just brings in a little bit more of the brown. So I'll stick those down, and then I can do some journaling and a couple of embellishments. Now these little gems are from Stampin' Up. They came with the Love Latte suite when I first joined, actually, and there's still a couple left, but the colours kind of blend quite well. So I'm just putting 3 in each spot, with the cream one on the dark and the dark ones on the cream, obviously to get that contrast. And that's going to be it for me. So as I say, it's a Speedy scrapbooking hop, and no mixed media, nothing complicated, very nice and straightforward and easy to follow. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that come together. Have a look at everybody else's and how they interpret the sketch, and it's a nice simple page, nothing too complicated, easy to follow. And these lips, I think, just go so well with that inspiration from Mel. So check out the Tuesday inspiration hop as well. Links to everything below. Happy crafting, everyone.